Today I'm joined by Peter Quinlan, meteorologist for Global Saskatoon. To start, it has been quite the mild winter so far. How do these temperatures compare to other years that we've seen in the past?
Yeah, so the year 2023 ended up being the warmest year Lloydminster has ever seen, and also the month of December ended up being the warmest month of December that Lloydminster has ever seen. Averages for this time of year in terms of early January are around -11 for highs and -21 for lows. So we've been seeing that warmer than average trend continue into early January, although big changes are on the way. But we were definitely well above average through all of December, and when we look at the entire year of 2023 overall.
This season has not been a very snow-filled one. Why have we seen such a lack of snow, and is this expected to change soon?
So we are in what's called an El Nino pattern, which typically is warmer than normal, but it's also less snowy or drier than normal. And we are expecting that trend to continue. Looks like it'll be difficult to build up that snow cover because once we get into the cold, which we are expecting to move in next week, it's hard to see greater accumulations of snow. So we will likely see some light flurries at times over the next little while here, but it's not going to be any major snow events, at least into the foreseeable future. We do always have a chance of some snowier conditions later in the winter into early spring. But at this point, it looks like this drier than normal trend is going to continue.
Lloydminster is known for its heavy winds. What can Lloyd residents expect in the wind department?
We are going to see those winds also ease back as we get into some of this Arctic air next week. And we're talking quite a bit of cold. We're talking daytime highs in the mid -20s, some overnight lows into the -30s, and expect some extreme cold warnings with wind chills into the -40s. When we get into this kind of a pattern, the winds typically ease back. When we get really warm days, we get some stronger winds because that helps mix in some of that warmer air. And that's why we've been seeing that so far in this season. In December, we had a lot of wind. That's what helped usher in the warm air and throughout much of fall as well. So as we start to settle into the cold, we will see those winds ease. That said, as the cold transitions in, we're going to feel that cold biting northwesterly wind surge into the Lloydminster area, probably early to middle of next week.
How does this winter for Lloydminster compare to other cities in the prairies?
This has been quite the winter so far. Meteorological winter starts in December, and most areas in Western Canada saw temperatures a whopping 7 degrees or warmer above average. So even places like Churchill in the north of Manitoba, they saw up to 12 degrees warmer than normal throughout December, which is very significant when you're averaging out 31 days of data. And let alone the entire year of 2023, many did see their driest or warmest on record. So it is pretty extraordinary, and we are off to quite the warm start. This is to be expected, maybe not to this extent, but when we have an El Nino year, we usually have warmer and drier than normal conditions. So this is what we are expecting, maybe not quite to this extent, but it is one of the stronger El Ninos that we have ever had. So we are going to likely see those conditions continue right across Western Canada.
Now, it's still some time away, but what can we expect from the spring season in Lloydminster?
So it looks like this trend of warmer than normal and drier than normal conditions will continue into spring likely. Big question is how far into spring, because we consider meteorological spring March, April, May. It looks like it will start off warmer and drier than normal for most areas, as the overall trend will still see cool, wet days. But the concern is for wildfire season, because we are coming off of a hot, dry summer into a drier winter and also a warmer winter. And of course, for farmers as well, the fields don't have much moisture in them. So at this point, it's not going to be an ideal start to the wildfire or growing season. It looks like we just really need to bank on some June rains, which is typically our wettest months of the year on the prairies. Hopefully those take place. A little difficult to say at this point, but what I can tell you is next winter will likely be a La Nina winter, which means colder and snowier than normal, but we still need to get through this winter.
Well, that covers all of my questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about the weather.